Okay, my name's Anna Morrison. I lost my dad when I was 15 in 2013. He was the life and soul of the party. He was a really, really great man. He had, you can probably guess what it was, it's very common, but he had cancer, he had a very I can't speak, a rare form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He was a real rock in our family. Everybody liked him and knew him. He loved a great gossip. He was just great fun, really. So obviously it was a real tragedy when we lost him. But coming up to 4 years now and starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The days aren't as dark, and we're really seeing some progress in our family. We're starting to rebuild ourselves back up. So that's really great. So he was diagnosed in 2003 when I was 6 years old. So he was ill for the majority of my childhood. I don't know, it kind of, when you look back, it didn't seem abnormal that we spent most of our weekends in a hospital. It was just, that was our life, when you've got nothing else to compare it to, that's just normal. And he put on a very brave front for us, so me and my brother were very sheltered from what was actually going on. We knew he was unwell, but we didn't know that death was not imminent, but a possibility. But he was ill, like I said, he was ill for a lot of my childhood, but it didn't stop us doing anything. We still went on family holidays and did lots of things together. We were a very, very close family, still are. He had a stem cell transplant, which was by a donor, by my uncle. And it means that your immune system gets very, very weak. It's almost non-existent. And he came back from the transplant, and the doctors said it couldn't have gone any better. And we were like, yes, get in, like this could be it, this could be us, done. And he then started to deteriorate quite rapidly, and we took him to hospital. Me and my brother didn't go to that. My mum took him because it was obviously quite an emergency situation. And then he ended up staying for a couple of days, and he just got worse and worse. He got taken to intensive care, and I didn't actually see him before he died. So when we said goodbye 3 days before, that was it. I was given the chance to go into the hospital, but I didn't want to remember him that way. I wanted, you know what I mean? I didn't want to see him in such a fragile state, because he'd always been so strong and so brave, and I think I probably would have seen the weaker side of him, like the real weak side of him, and I didn't really want to remember that. And I remember I stayed in my mum's bed the night before, because everything was just turmoil, and she got a phone call at about, I want to say like 5 o'clock in the morning, and the doctor just said, I think I remember the words, he's deteriorating. And my mum just, when you think everything's all right, if you look at your parents and they're still okay, and I looked at my mum and she wasn't, and that's when you're like, oh, okay, maybe something was wrong here. All the family had come down because they realised that the situation was actually quite bad. So my mum, I think, my dad's parents, and even my mum's parents, I think, I can't, it's all becomes a blur, to be honest. They all rushed to the hospital, and me and my brother were left with my grandparents. So my mum rushed off, I think, with my dad's parents, and my mum's grandparents stayed with us. And I mean, God, that morning was awful, just waiting for a phone call, all this stuff of no news is good news, and nothing, and then we heard a knock on the front door, and my mum comes in, and me and my brother are in the lounge, and she just walks in, she just goes, I need to tell you something. And that's when your heart sinks, everything drops. And I can't even remember, she just said, I think Dad's died, but I don't think she could get the words out or something. And I just remember staring into the distance. I had no emotion, no nothing, I just stared, because it was like, what, you're joking, right? No, you mean the last time I saw him was 3 days ago, and that's it for a lifetime, that's that done. And you almost rock yourself, because you're like, this can't be happening, this isn't real, and then you look around and your family's all crying, and you're like, oh my goodness, this. When they say, who hits the fan, that's really what had happened, and you just look around and go, oh my goodness. And then I think after that it's just tears and tears and tears. I think we cried for about 7 days solid. It was, there's no other way of describing it other than horrible. It just absolutely, I think, when they say the worst day of your life, I think that day will always come to mind. Nothing can quite match that day. But so that happened in the morning, and yeah, all the family came over, and it was from then on, I think a lot of it is a blur until about 6 months later, and I can't place certain things, and I think because you kind of shut down a little bit, your brain can't compute